Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. If you don't understand the true value of silver, you honestly shouldn't be investing into it. But I can guarantee by the end of this video, you will 100% understand. See, spot price is irrelevant. Silver's true value isn't the price attached to it, but the metal content inside of it. Once you realize this, you can now start to understand how valuable silver truly is. Silver is valuable within itself. It has intrinsic value. Most other investments don't. They're only valuable because someone is saying that it should be worth that much. Silver has been money way before money has been money. Fiat currency is a newborn baby compared to how long gold and silver have been used as money. 5,000 years. Money is something that cannot be created nor destroyed, used interchangeable between two people as a means of monetary exchange. That's precious metals to a T. Fiat currency is created man-made and destroyed man-made. Is that really money? Money isn't even backed by anything with value anymore. Once upon a time, we were on a gold standard. Our dollars were backed by gold. When I would go to this, let's say back in, 1940, 50, whatever, when I would go to the store and hand the store clerk a walking liberty, a 50-cent, half dollar, I was actually giving her 50 cents of value because there was 50 cents of silver inside of that half dollar. But now, 2 quarters doesn't have any type of value inside of it. It's a promise now. I'm promising that this 50 cents has that value, but it doesn't. So you can see why real money is actually fake. The only type of real money is precious metals. The only reason America is the richest country in the world is because we own the most gold. Now let's think about that for a second. So you're saying that on a country to country basis, we're determining wealth off of gold, not dollars. America could print up a mile-high mountain of dollars, but that's not what determines how wealthy we are. It's how much gold we have. So if we could determine that from a country-to-country basis, let's apply that to a person-to-person basis. That means someone could have $100,000 in their bank account, but their wealth is determined on how much gold and silver they have? Yes, but they're not going to portray it that way. They're not going to tell you that, right? They're not going to tell you that. Why do you think banks hoard silver? It's because that's the only thing we have to give of real value. Now, moving forwards, I really want people to understand why silver's true value is unknown. Anytime we've looked at silver's price, its spot price, during a period in time throughout history, that's what the price was during that time. What the dollar index was, what stock market volatility was, what the economy was doing, right? It's all circumstantial based on that specific point in time. But what about moving forwards? What about when stock market volatility won't affect the price of silver? What about when the dollar index isn't attached to or directly correlated to silver? What happens when the gold to silver ratio is essentially irrelevant because gold and silver take on a life of their own? We're going in that direction. There's no reason the gold to silver ratio should even be a thing, a tool right now, because gold is used for such a different reason than silver is. Gold is a monetary metal in only that. It's used for jewelry, coins, rings, necklaces, earrings, watches. There is gold in technology, but not to the rate that silver is. Gold's a monetary metal. It's a safe haven. So gold only benefits, only really peaks when the economy's in bad shape. Silver is also a monetary a safe haven metal, but it's also an industrial metal. Silver is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity and light sensitivity. It's used in everything from dental alloys, mirrors, cameras, microphones, a lot in photography, solar panels, electric vehicles, cell phones, space equipment. It's used in everything. And moving forwards, we're heading into a new digital age. We're advancing so fast technologically that silver is only going to be needed more and more and more. And looking as Joe Biden won the presidency, the green energy revolution, where he's trying to go solar, where everything's going to be solar panels now, that's used with silver. Silver's in photovoltaic cells, which is heavily used in solar panels. So silver demand is only going to keep booming and growing and growing and growing. And they're saying by 2030, it's going to be up drastically. So silver is going to keep being needed. But the production, the supply, is depleting. It's diminishing. There's not much silver to go around. And we're already starting to see the first consequences of that. And that's why American Eagles have such high premiums right now. So as an investor, and I say investor, not a gambler, as an investor, I can see where silver's going to go. And we haven't even brought up stimulus yet. Remember when I said the dollar's directly correlated to silver, but what's going to happen when it's not correlated? Well, this is the thing. We have to learn how to adjust and adapt. The dollar index is still directly correlated. When stimulus gets thrown out, we have to print money or print dollar bills to catch up, to make up for all that money. But when we print more dollars, that weakens the dollar because we're just impregnating it. We're flooding it. And remember what I said is directly correlated. So with the weaker dollar, what does that mean? Higher precious metals prices. It's a direct correlation. When the dollar's up, gold and silver's down. When the dollar's down, gold and silver's up. So I can literally prove, I can guarantee that once stimulus gets thrown out, it's going to push precious metals higher. There's like a negative 0.09 difference. So that's literally a fact that precious metals will be up when stimulus gets thrown out. But what about afterwards? You know, that's not going to be lasting forever. I mean, there might be, since the pandemic is going to worsen, since we just had Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's within a couple month time frame, this pandemic, this virus is going to spread times tenfold. Look at Canada. Canada had Thanksgiving in October. After Canada had Thanksgiving, their numbers spread more rapid than any other country in the world. And Canada's a much, much smaller country than the USA. So imagine the USA having Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Imagine what the numbers are going to be now. Astronomical, vaccine or not. So there might be another stimulus after that as well. Back in 2008, the credit crisis, financial crisis, recession/depression, that required billion-dollar stimulus. Same type of stuff. What that led to, 2.5 years later, $50 silver. Imagine what $1 trillion stimulus is going to do. There's a big difference between $1 billion and $1 trillion. I don't even think the human mind can fathom how much bigger $1 billion or $1 trillion is than $1 billion. When we throw out $1 trillion stimulus twice because of the CARES Act, imagine what that's going to do to silver. Back then it was $50 silver. Nowadays, who knows? Plus we have a global pandemic on top of that. So in 2008, $1 billion stimulus, recession/depression, $50 silver. Nowadays, $1 trillion stimulus, recession/depression, a global pandemic, one of the most controversial presidential elections, a pandemic that's also turning into a second wave. We also have the Joe Biden green energy revolution, a silver shortage. I mean, think about it. If you want to talk about crazy silver prices, ladies and gentlemen, we're living in crazy times. If you honestly think in 10, 15 years from now, silver is still going to be $25, you're crazy. Think about it. Think about how much can happen in even 5 years. Look 5 years ago. Look 10 years ago. 10 years ago, silver was $50. Think about how much can happen in a year. Think about a year ago. We barely even, the pandemic wasn't even started yet. Think about next year. How much is going to change, is going to happen by then? Think 5 years down the line. Think 10 years down the line, a decade later. Think about all that's going to happen and how much worse the dollar is going to be, how much weaker it's going to be, do you honestly think silver's still going to be $25? It's nearly impossible. So knowing that, why wouldn't you be willing to pay the price right now? It's like we have a glimpse in the future. We know silver's going to be a lot higher, so we should be buying as much as we can right now for as cheap as possible. But news centers, mainstream media is not going to tell you that. They're going to tell you that it's not a buy yet. Once the price goes up, then they're going to tell you to buy it. That makes no sense. Why would they tell you to buy something after it's risen instead of buying it while it's cheap? They literally do this. They look and say, silver's still down right now. We're going to hold off. But once it starts rising, they're going to say, it looks like a good buy now. That doesn't make sense. It's supposed to be buy low, sell high, not buy high, hope it goes higher. That's gambling. We're investors, not gamblers. So I really hope you understand all this. I could go on for another hour speaking about the hundreds of different reasons why silver's valuable, but I'm going to wrap it up. I don't want the video to be too long. I want it to be able to be watchable and not feel like I'm dragging on. Honestly, everything I say is must-know information. I'm never going to tell you stuff you don't need to know. Hopefully, everything I said in this video is straight to the point information that will stick, that will hit you, make you realize, make you think, and make it stick in your brain. I don't want to ramble about something that's irrelevant. I try to speak very, very to the point, down to earth, to the point, and facts to show you guys, to make you really realize, to be aware, to comprehend how much more valuable silver is than all these everyday, quote unquote, necessities, these essential items that people obsess over. We obsess over something with value. When we spend our fiat money and transfer it into gold and silver, we have replaced fake money with real money. Most people obsess about the real money and then they obsess about the fake money and then spend the fake money on even more irrelevant things or things they don't need. We're investing into our future, and I promise you, it's going to pay off, right? Your hard work, the amount of hours you spend watching these videos is going to pay off, and the end result is financial freedom. You just got to be patient. Most people aren't even patient enough. Most people don't even care. They don't care that America's $27 trillion in debt. They don't care. You could tell them that silver is going to make them rich, but if you tell them the time frame, 5-10 years from now, they're going to say, oh, I don't care about that. I'll probably be dead by now, or whatever the case is. They don't want to wait. They're not patient. And then they wonder why they're living paycheck to paycheck struggling. It's because the first second they get a dollar, they're looking on how to spend it. We are different. We are like-minded individuals that have a passion for precious metals, and we are also going to be extremely wealthy pretty soon. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.